Welcome to another edition of the Bank Statement Show. I'm very excited and honored to see all the beautiful faces in the building today. How's everyone doing? Can you guys hear me loud and clear? Give me some hearts, give me some thumbs up to make sure that I can listen and hear all of you guys. Let me know in um, the section. Let's make sure we retweet this space right now. Is everybody hearing me loud and clear? Yeah, I see some bunch of hearts. I see some thumbs up. What is going on, everyone? I am super excited and happy to see all your beautiful faces and everybody here for another edition of our bank statement show. I'm one of the favorite show on crypto right now, so we're super excited. I am here with Mr. Banks, who's in the building as well. For our episode 3. Mr. Banks, can you hear me loud and clear? I want to make sure you hear me on
Can you?
your.
Hello, hello.
I hear you loud and clear. That's awesome.
All right, let's go. No
Oh,
problems today.
no problems today. Big shout out to Elon letting us letting us leave today. Thank you, Elon. Oh man, Mr. Banks, how are you feeling today?
Doing great. Give me about 30 seconds. Let me get my coffee for this space, and we can get this bank statement show going. Okay, give me
Exactly.
about.
Get
It's brewing right now. Let me grab it. I'll be right back.
Go grab your coffee because today is gonna get spicy. Today, guys, we have some exciting things that we want to talk about. So if I had to give a title to today, we're gonna be talking about banks, not banks, the token banks, but banks like actual banks. We're gonna talk about leadership and leaders, and then we'll talk about something called the 50% rule, which is gonna be really interesting. So I'm really excited for all of you guys that are tuning in. Guys, by the way, let's make sure we retweet this. I want to see a bunch of retweets. Make sure that as many people come in. We're doing a $50 USDC giveaway on the space as well. Make sure you share this with your friends and family. I see a bunch of Banks Mask in the building as well. I see Alan, I see you in the building. Caesar, Joy is in the building. Cardi Bless is in the building. Hunt is in the building. Ilya is in the building. Alide is in the building. Jill is in the building. El Tiger in the building. Kim Diamond. Fifi is in the building as well. Lynx, I see you in the building as well. Yezize is in the building. Prince K, I see you. Riz, I see you in the building as well. Zuo, if I'm butchering your name, guys, I apologize. But good to see all the beautiful faces. I see Luca in the building as well. Mitchie, I see you in the building. I see Comfy in the building as well. Obasu, Leonave, Barg, Mac, I see you in the building. Karina, I see you in the building. Danny is in the building. There's another Karina in the building, spelled differently. That's awesome. Legend is in the building. All right, so there's so many people. I don't have the time to name everyone, but make sure, guys, you share this with friends and family. It's going to be really good. I always want to make sure that you guys tune in every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when we're having our conversation. Today, we have some exciting topics that we want to make sure we discuss. It's going to be interactive, so make sure you're staying close to your phone or you're on a computer or somewhere so you can be able to interact with us. You're not going to want to miss today's show. Before we get any further, while Mr. Bank grabs his coffee, I want to make sure I go through the disclaimer. Guys, understand that the Bank Statement Show is intended to share just general information for education and discussion purpose only, right? Nothing that you hear on this show is financial, legal, tax, or investment advice. So please, you do your own research. You guys already know how it is. Assess your risk, consult with a qualified professional before you make any investment decision. By watching or you're listening to us, you agree that we are not responsible for any losses or action that you take based on the content of this show. Always want to make sure that we get all the legalese out of the way. And then we get started here. It's going to be a good one. No, I see Jigs in the building as well. Big shout out to Jigs. Kea, I see you in the building as well. Relics, I see you in the building. Chaos, also big shout out to all of you guys joining in. It's going to be good. Mr. Banks, did you grab your coffee? Are you ready? Are you sitting down now, ready for more chit chats, or is the coffee still brewing?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm amped up. Got the coffee. Let's go.
So I wanted to start with this interesting conversation, right? Because this is the bank statement show, guys, right? So bank statement, for those of you guys who are new to the Rob Banks movement and what we stand for, we believe in helping everyone learn, earn, and build wealth together. So we like financial literacy. We talk about finance and crypto, the merging of the two. So we like to talk about money here. And I had a question for you, Mr. Banks, right? And you guys in the chat, let me know what you think as well. In your house, right? Yours specifically, or those of you guys who are listening, who is in charge of the money, right? When we're talking about leadership and money, who's the CFO of your house, right? So if you have to put it, is it you? Is it your spouse? Or is it something that you guys manage money together jointly? Let me know for yourself. And how did you guys decide who was going to be in charge of the money?
For us, it's definitely me
Okay.
in our household. Early on in our marriage, I will say it was probably more of a joint kind of operation.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
The first 2, 3, 4 years maybe, but then you just kind of you figure out which one is better at it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't even consider myself great at it. Bongo, right? I've got people that I got to have people that keep up with a lot of that stuff for me
Exactly.
as well. But directly in the household, right? I'm the one that makes the decisions. Of course, with my wife, and just like in business. So, but yeah, for me, it's definitely, I am the one that I guess you could call me the CFO of the household.
You're the CFO of the household. No, I was thinking about something. When it comes to like who the person who makes the decision, is it based on the person who makes the most money that makes the decision? Or like, let's say if you were making less money than your wife, would you let your spouse, right? And you guys in the comment section, let me know if, in your house, who's making the financial decision. But would you let the person who makes less money manage the money, or is it one of those like it's like unwritten rule? If I make the most money, I'm the one who manages the money.
Yeah, that's a good question, Bongo. I think still it's got to boil down to who's the best one, right?
Hmm.
Regardless of the individual's income, um, what they're making one particular year or years, compared to the others. You really got to look at the like next man up, right? Best person, on the court, right? to And kind of the same thing, and I believe in marriage and your finances is who's good at this,
Right.
right? And who's willing to do it,
Mhm.
right? Sometimes maybe the better one isn't willing to even step up and do it,
That's true.
because they've got too many things on their plate, and the other spouse wants it to be a joint effort,
That's true.
So
That's true. That's a
um,
interesting. I like that. I was thinking about that. I'm like, is it automatically the person that makes the most that has to manage it? Because but you guys, let me know in the comment section. Here's what we're gonna do, right? If you're the one who manages the money in your house, I want you to give me a thumbs up. If it's your partner that manages the money, I want you to give me a thumbs down. And if you manage it together, give me a heart, right? So if you're managing it, it's you, give me a thumbs up. If it is your partner, give me a thumbs down. And if it is something that you manage together, give me a heart. I want to see in the comment section. I see a bunch of thumbs up. Okay, I see a thumbs ups over there. I see a couple hearts. All right. A little joint effort. I see a couple thumbs up. Okay, it's a mixed bag. What do you think, Mr. Banks? I mean, I find it interesting.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
mixed
that's
bag.
awesome. Yeah. Well, I think, again, we're talking directly, relationship, marriage, household type
Right,
stuff, right? I mean,
right.
that's, a healthy relationship, healthy stuff, right? Just healthy finances. You communicate and,
Exactly,
kind
exactly,
of, you get what you put in, right? So I think,
exactly.
money's the
100%.
most important thing, right? We all want to make it, but the best thing we got to do is learn how to manage it,
We got
right?
to learn how to, before we even go there, this is to all my single people in the chat. I was thinking about this. What would you say are some financial red flags on a first date? Right? Like you meet the girl, she's pretty. I want you to go back to like your first date when you and your wife, when you guys met. By the way, I know Mr. Banks' wife, good friends, but they had a pretty interesting first date. They always tell the story.
I don't
But I
even
want
think I don't even think I can say that one on the space, right? Like, come on.
to, but I wanted to know, okay, so what would be some red flags on the first date, right? Like, let's just keep it general, right? Maybe not yours, but let's just keep it general. What would be some like, whoa, like that's a complete red flag. You gotta just, get the check and leave and, block the number. what, what would be some financial red flags? And I'm curious for you guys, all right, in the comment section, don't worry, guys. We'll get to more serious topics, but I wanted to kind of talk about like, because this is also a financial topic, right? What would you say are some like red flags when it comes to like being on a first date? What are some, let's just kind of name some of them that you think that comes
So,
up the top of your head.
the first one, not talking about mine, but mine is funny, and you know it. But
Right.
um, me, a red flag would be if she sits down and orders two meals.
Mm, 2 meals.
Two meals, right? That could have
Chicken.
double consequence, right? That could be double trouble, right? She's gonna get one while she's with you, and she's gonna take one home with her.
That
That could
is crazy. She's using you as the ATM machine. No, that's crazy.
or all she does is turn. She doesn't look at the special menu, right? She just goes straight to the filet mignon and lobster, right? First date, right? Let's look at the specials first on the first
Yo,
date, okay?
this is crazy. It's funny, like, okay, well, so that brings up a good thing though. So does that mean that if on the first date your date like chooses something expensive, right? Does that make that person like a gold digger kind of thing? Is it because of like how much she's choosing in terms of like how much you should spend on that first date? Or do you have a cap, by the way, on how much, like, okay, if I'm going on the first date, I can't spend more than this amount of money?
No, I mean, I mean, again, I haven't been on a date since I don't know when. I've been married a long time, so.
Right.
But no, when I was in the dating world, single world, no, I can't say that I had a limit on it. Right? When you go on the first date, the early dates, your wallet feels really fat, even though it isn't. You act like it
Right.
is. So you're not fighting too much on that one, but yeah,
Don't go broke on the first
don't
date.
go
That is
broke.
crazy. Don't go
But you
broke
also
on the
you
first
don't
date.
want to set you don't want to set crazy standards in case you want to keep her around, right? You don't want to keep.
That is true. That is true. You don't want that. You don't want there to think that, you're always going to be going at a 5-star Michelin chef restaurant every time. That is crazy. I did a little bit of chat GPT. I asked chat GPT based on social media results, right? What are the typical financial red flags on a first date? Like, let's say you're taking a nice girl out or you're the girl being taken out and you're like, okay, you know what? Oh, you want to pay attention, right? By the way, this is the bank statement show, right? We want to look at the bank statements. You guys want to pay attention to some of these red flags. If you see this, it might be time for you to bounce, right? Here's one of the red flags. Expecting the date
Unless you're
to
married,
pay.
unless you're married, right? We're talking about first dates, right?
Exactly. First date. We're just talking about first date. You're not married, not
Yeah,
in a
okay, right.
relationship yet, right? Like you just met on Tinder or you met on Facebook or you met on X, whatever. All right. So here's one of the red flags. Expecting your date to pay. I mean, this is kind of crazy, right? To think about, like, if you expect your date to pay, I mean, that is, I don't know about you. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think that's ChatGPT might need to update that. I think, yeah. I mean, I guess expecting them to pay. I guess we should never expect the other person to pay, right? You should be willing
Right.
to, but I know having kids now that are adults and dating and stuff like that. That a lot of times they just pay for their own, right? And they
That's
don't.
true.
Um, even if they're semi serious right now, it's kind of like some people having joint checking accounts.
Mm,
Married, right? And you never really
interesting.
you never really merge. So
Okay. So would you say you think that the date should come thinking that they should pay themselves, like not expect the other person to pay? Because you don't know. What if that person looks at you like, hey, you get left with the bill. You gotta have a pocket. You gotta come like with no wallet.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think automatically, the man, should um, pay the bill
I
personally.
love it. I love
you
it. I love it. A
know,
little old school
for
chivalry.
more reasons than just, but I'm also that guy that believes that guy should also open the car door for her, you
Hey, I love it. All
know,
the ladies in the chat, give us a heart.
yeah,
Get a little
yeah.
heart, you know.
And men, if you're
Um,
not doing it, if you're not doing it, you need to do it. You might get better dates, but,
you might
that's one of
get
those
better
disclaimers
dates.
on your bank statement, right? Open car door.
Exactly. Open car door. I love it. I love it. Oh man. So what about this one? I saw another one. This other one was pretty interesting. It said, uh, asking direct question about income or how much someone makes is a red flag. So if you go on a date and your date is asking you direct questions about like, how much money do you make, right? Like would you find that as a red flag?
Now that's a red flag. That's a flashing red light. You went right
Flashing
past
red
the flag.
light.
Yeah, that's a flashing red light for sure.
Oh my God.
For
Yeah, for
sure.
sure. I feel like the person should be there for you and not your money, right? Like if on the first date, especially, I can see it on a second or third date, but not on the first date. On the first date, we just want to know the person. You're asking me how much money I make? Like what? Stop counting my pockets. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is the last one that I thought was interesting as well was, um, bragging about personal wealth. I think that's a red flag too. Like if you're on a date with someone, you find the person attractive, they're cute, but then they start bragging about just how much money they have. I think that's a red flag, whether that's a guy or a girl. I feel like that's just like that's a no-no because you almost feel like, okay, is money the only valuable thing that they really see themselves as bringing to the relationship, right? Like they could say, okay, I've done this, but if you feel like they're always flexing their money, to me, that's a red flag.
Yeah. Yeah. And 100%. I believe when you actually, um, obtain wealth,
Right.
you don't want anyone to actually know your wealth.
Mm. Oh, okay. Drop the gems, Mr. Banks. Drop the nuggets
Hey,
on us.
hey, that's why we're here, right? Like you don't,
Right.
you're, that's where like, it's so exciting, right? Doing these shows now, just getting to know our community, letting the community get to know us. And, I
Right.
know we're seeing some of the same faces. I've got a few messages in my inbox from people from last week and just,
That's awesome.
really, getting in and just communicating some of this stuff, right? Like when you really start making money, you don't want people to know that how much money you have. So like,
Mm.
kind of the same thing at a date, right? Like if you're sitting down and you're starting to flex on your job or your ledger wallet, right? Um,
You
you
might
might
get
be broke.
kidnapped.
You might be broke, man. You might be broke, right? They're not going to kidnap you because,
There's
anyway,
nothing. It's usually
nothing
the
there,
broke
right?
people
It's a
that
new
like
ledger.
talk about
It's a
their
new
money.
ledger.
That's true. You're right. You're 100% right. Oh man, that is crazy. It's so funny. But I think that's something to learn, right? You got to make sure, is this person really there for you or for their money? And sometimes it's difficult to know if all you bring up is money and then that person comes for your money and then when they treat you like that, you feel some type of way. Oh, you only here for my money, but that's the only thing you presented, right? That's the only
Yeah.
thing you came up with. So
Yeah.
anyways, guys, let us know in the comment section. Go to our pin post. Let us know in the comment section. What do you guys think of some other red flags that you guys experienced on your first date? I always love to kind of hear the community. What you guys have expected? What do you guys have encountered on some crazy face date? But yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Well, let's transition a little bit. Again, welcome. I see some new faces. I see, Ravi AI, I see you there. I see you, Riley. I see you there. Dax in the building. Godspeed in the building. Determined in the building. Chris Bull in the building. So big shout out to all of you guys who are joining us. I see Julia X that's joining us as well. Argentum, Daisy, Tom Brown, to all the people. Make sure you guys we share and retweet this. Let's get at least 300 people live on the check-in. So big shout out to you guys. So, Mr. Banks, I was thinking, so this past week, me and you had a conversation off air about like leadership, right? About leadership in general within like the, business space, specifically in crypto space, when you look at some of the leaders in like ecosystems and leaders of projects. And, it reminded me a little bit of, something that a good, coach and mentor often says, that everything rises and fall on leadership. And one of the things that I wanted to kind of have the discussion, right, when we're looking at, some of the leaders within, like, let's say, like, I'm using Base, for example. We met Jesse at On-Chain Summit a couple months ago. You look at CV, what he's doing with, Binance, and Brian with Coinbase and some of the other leaders. So I wanted to kind of hear from you about how important is it leadership, when it comes to, like, for example, the wave uh, that's happening into the space, and also your thought process on, like, okay, do the leaders actually really look at projects, right? I wanted to kind of talk about that commentary a little bit, because the same way we talked about, like, okay, who takes those financial decisions in the home, because leadership is important, but also at large, how does leadership play a role into a space like crypto, a space like business? I want you to talk about that for a second.
Yeah, I mean, of course, leadership, I think, in any business, small business, medium, large, I think is important. But, just talking about, base, Jesse, it was great. I mean, honestly, it was a great experience out at On-Chain Summit
Yeah, it was
when
awesome.
we got to meet other projects, and then got to listen to, Jesse talk in person, and talk to him a little bit after he spoke. And I did walk away from there, the feeling that, hey, he's the real deal, right? He was as transparent as someone in his position as anyone I'd ever seen before. And I'm actually significantly older than Jesse. And so I was very, very glad to see that. But I think when you're still trying to find your way, because in the big scope of things, right? Base is still day one, right? With base. And I think that we got to remember, where we are. And I think
Hmm.
that, um, the leaders, because right now when we say leaders, let's just keep it with base right now. When
Right,
we're talking about leaders, there's only one name that really we're all talking about, right? And it's Jesse, right?
right.
And I think that some people are better, leaders than others. And and I'm not saying Jesse's bad. Look, Jesse's taken a beating this past week on crypto Twitter here, and over some comments and actions and stuff like that. And I think it's unfair, to a certain extent.
For
Some of the way.
those who do not know, I mean, what were the criticism about?
Well, how he's promoting. Everything's about Zora right now. Everything's about just certain projects, and not, kind of spreading the wings to other projects that are, been building much longer, much harder. And look, full transparency, right? You and I've had this conversation, um,
Hmm.
as well, just like many other people, many other projects that we know in this space, that, um, it would be nice, to have a little bit of, when we met him in person, he gave us a little bit of feedback. He gave us some good stuff, and we enjoyed that time. But, you know, having knowing who we are, what we're doing, and what we're actually building with the Banks project, um, it would be nice to have a little more support. Now, what does that mean? What does that really mean? Um, but what I've come to realize is, the banks, we're going to do what we do regardless,
Right.
regardless, of what Jesse does, what base does overall, and the base cabal, right? We love that word, the base cabal. But
Basketball.
back to your question, you know, I don't think that leaders, look at meme projects, and let's call them utility projects. Don't get me started with utility projects, other projects.
Right.
Seriously, we even kind of sensed that when we were at On-Chain Summit, right?
Right.
Uh, where the builders were, they were overbuilding, and you had all the meme people, kind of in their way, let's say. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of my short take on it, Bongo, is that, um, I don't think, um,
They're looked at the same way.
they're looked at the same way,
Mm.
but with so many meme projects now, and everybody looking for the next runner, and
Right.
I think, that's something that we'll continue to talk about on the Bank Statement Show week after week,
Right.
is, you know, uh, if you can, don't continue to complain about getting wrecked or rugged, right? If you're constantly rotating into the next bright, shiny object instead of, buying in and believing in something, so, and hopefully that's where banks is all about, right? We're going to learn, earn, and build wealth together.
Right.
Um, because our goal is the same. It will continue to be the same. We believe, I believe, and I know you do as well, along with the team, that we're going to create wealthy people within the banks community, without a
100%.
doubt, without a doubt.
100%. Right.
You know, it's gonna depend, right? Are you coming on episode 380? Are you on episode 700? Have you
Right.
put in the work,
Right.
to actually see those rewards? And that's going to be the exciting part, right? Is it, look, our market cap, like I looked at it just before we went on. It's like, are you kidding me? We're at like 170K market cap. Like that's like I mean, Bongo, I know we're not, no one talk about banks right now, but that's just almost insulting, right? When
When
you
you
look at
when you look at
the
all
overall
the
body of
effort and the
work.
work, right,
Yeah.
right,
But again, don't get me on that one. But at the end of the day, and I'm not even talking about Jesse support. Like I think just being more looking at what a project does and not
hmm
just throwing a dart at a dartboard and say
hmm
I'm going to support that project, because that's what it
hmm
feels like.
hmm
Sometimes that's what it feels like.
You know, I do agree with you. I think to some degree, it's kind of hard and really difficult to say, like, okay, are they genuinely looking at projects, and it's hard to know. But let's say, let me play advocate for a second, right? Let me say I was Jesse's advocate or some of these leaders, right? And I want to zoom out for a second, and Mr. Banks, I want to have this conversation for the audience that's here, maybe other leaders, or maybe some of you guys are running your own projects as well. So this could also be beneficial to you guys. What would be like the leadership um characteristics that one should look for those who are behind projects, right? Because that's the other thing that's really difficult. Like me and you come from like traditional business, right? We've ran companies. We also are running companies outside of just like, okay, I don't even consider really banks a meme project. I think it's a brand that has meme tokenomics. But let's just say, okay, if someone was looking at leadership and looking at the people behind it, like the devs or the team or the people behind it, what makes great leaders? What would make it Jesse or CZ or Brian or some of the other people to say, you know what, let's look closely at these guys? What would be those characteristics for you think, that would make it unique for them to be able to look at specific leaders, right? For those who have, you're launching your own token, your own project, or you're thinking about launching your own project, what would you say are those things that are fundamental that makes great leaders?
Well, I think first of all, when you're talking about leadership in a project,
Hmm.
is kind of identifying from what you see on a screen first, which it's crypto, man. Like we don't know if we believe what's on the screen or not, right?
Right,
But
right,
there's been some pretty rugs out there, that's got pretty websites and a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't true. But you got to take that, at face value. But then at some point, right, you got to say, if the project's real, you're going to start seeing them do real things, right? You're going to
hmm
see time is going to take over. You're going to see the longevity of what they're doing. You're also going to hear the sincerity in their voice and what they do and their actions. Um, so I think that, because I think it's hard, right? I can beat up the situation and say, well, Jesse should do this and Base should do this, and but the reality is there's thousands of tokens being launched on Base every day, if not tens of thousands on Base every day.
right.
Um,
I had a, I had
taking
a, I had a, I
taking
had an
away from
interesting
Zora,
stat.
taking away from Zora, right? Like Zora, pumps it up even higher with
Right,
every
exactly.
post being a token. But
I wanted to show you. I said I had some stats. So for the from 2024 all the way to 2025, right? So the past 12 months or so, just based on the Solana ecosystem. I know a lot of people here on Base were part of the Base ecosystem, but I think they just had the data. Over 20,000 meme tokens were launched in a 12-month period. I mean, it's really hard for someone to genuinely be able to decipher what works and doesn't work. 20,000. I mean, that's an incredibly large amount
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that sounds really low. In what time period?
in 12 months.
Yeah, I think that's really low.
You think it's much more than that?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
It might have been 1,000 a day, right? Like just
yeah,
at
yeah.
the
I think
rate
that's
that it's
I
going.
think that's way low. Where'd that data source come from? I think that's
That
way low.
I saw that from Perplexity, and they took
Okay.
it from CoinDex, so it could be right. It could be that, like you said, it's some adjustment in terms of that, but
Yeah.
um,
Either way, it's a lot, right? I believe it's more
it's a
than
lot.
that. That's a lot by itself, but
Right, but by itself, that's a lot because even if you have to be vetting a lot of these, I mean, that could be. I remember at one point, Brian Armstrong was talking about that they were going through like 300,000 requests for people that wanted to be listed on Coinbase, right? So I know that those numbers could be just ginormous, right, in terms of like how many of those requests may be. But I think to what you're saying is true though. We need to make sure, okay, one, there's a sense of vision, right, in terms of like, okay, what are they trying to do? They're not just trying to be a pretty picture or pretty hype because it's kind of hard to know like, okay, are these people here for real? And I think one of the things you want to say, because I want to make sure that the audience leave with practical stuff. So how do you know that these people behind whatever this new token is, do they have longevity? Are they going to be around in a year? Are they going to be around in 2 years? Are they actually going to do what they say they're going to do? So one of the ways to do it is time. Just give it time,
right.
right? Are they building when it's down, right? Are they building in when it's down, or are they just showing up when it's green candle days, right? Are they showing like, think about where we were, and now we decided, okay, we're going to be showing up every week and doing this space and doing multiple spaces and continue to ship things out, regardless of the fact that we're on red days. We could have been like, oh, you know what, let's fold it and leave. No, we are actually growing our team,
Yeah,
believe it or not, to do more stuff, right? And I think that's also another example of like, okay, real leaders are the people who are going to put the action behind their words, are going to show up even when things are down.
100%.
No,
100%.
100%, 100%. So actually, I thought about something interesting, and I want the audience for you guys to tune in a little bit and tell me what you think. So to me, I see leaders as two categories. You have especially leaders behind projects, or even leaders like a Jesse or a CZ and stuff, and their staff, right? Because remember, like Jesse's not the only person that works at base. They have hundreds, if not thousands, of people who make sure the system works, from developers to operators and stuff like that. So to me, usually it falls into two categories. You have visionaries. These are the people who are casting the vision. These are the big picture people. These are the people who are able to kind of see the around the corner before you get down the street, right? Like those are the people that can see 3, 4, 5 years ahead. Beside the visionaries, you have operators. Operators are the people who actually execute what the visionaries see. So I think often enough, like the dynamic between Mr. Banks and myself is like we have a visionary operator dynamic, right? Like, okay, tell me what you see. Tell me what could be the things that we need to be a turnaround corner. Okay, and someone else has to start implementing the vision. And I think often enough, good leaders are people who can, if you are a visionary, you need to be able to have someone that's going to operate her, because sometimes good visionaries are not the executor, not the people who are going to sit around and launch and do the stuff. Like you need the person who's going to be willing to do the grinding work, which is really important. And if you're an operator, you need a visionary. You need to line up yourself. Like I'm thinking of Steve Jobs and Steven Wozniak, right? One was the operator, the other one was the visionary. I'll let you think who's who. Um, but I think that having that balance is really important. Even if you're leading it, even if it's a mean project, you need a visionary and you need an operator. Um, but um, Mr. Banks, I don't know, but for you, who do you think comes first? Do you need an operator first, or do you need a visionary first?
I think you need a visionary first. I
Mm,
think you have to
I
see
agree.
the vision and build, kind of the overall picture. You and I have done several things together over the
Right,
years. I'm definitely a visionary. You
right,
know, you're visionary too, but you're also understand the operations and operating of it. So
right.
I think that's visionary for me is important
Right.
part. Just like that's one of the things I really was excited about when I did hear Jesse at On Chain Summit was the vision that he had.
Hmm.
Um, Overall in his transparency and honesty.
Right.
that they didn't have all the answers right now, you know, and I personally respect that. Now, sometimes you can take a little bit of hit for that, right? Because people want to know, know exactly where you're going
Right.
and how you're going to get there, right? So being transparent sometimes can be conceived as a weakness. So,
Hmm.
um, so I respect him for doing that in that intimate setting. But I've also seen him do it in larger settings as well. But,
Right.
you know,
Right. Right. No, 100%. And I think, um, you need to make sure that if like there's multiple leaders or multiple people, like you guys are coming as a group, that there's no jealousy, right? Someone can be more charismatic in the front, another person can be in the background, but as long as you're all working towards the same goal, I think that's really important. Because I'm thinking about like CTOs, right? Like community takeovers. Those are not always easy because sometimes it's not easy to see who's the leader, right? Like who's the person that's going to take the responsibility. It's easy when it all works, right? But whenever you start having a bunch of red candle days or you're not hitting things on the roadmap, that could be really difficult. All right. So before we move on to the next topic, I want to make sure I get a little bit of the audience to give me a poll. Guys, let me know which one you guys prefer, to see as a leader in a project. Maybe it could be a project that you see. Do you prefer a visionary or do you prefer an operator? Or neither, right? Like it's all about charts. You don't really care whether it's it's the leader, visionary or not. You just want to see green candles. So if you like a visionary, give me a heart. If you prefer an operator, give me a thumbs up. And if you're only about charts, give me the 100 symbol, right? So again, visionary is a heart, operator is a thumbs up, and a chart is give me the 100. Give me the 100 symbol. Let me look. Okay, I see a couple hundreds. I see a couple hearts. I see a couple hearts. Okay, I see a couple hearts. I see a couple hearts. Okay. So overall, people are saying they want the visionary. I see a couple hundred. People are like, okay, uh, okay, I see that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, let's transition here for a second and let's talk a little bit about banks that are coming on base, all right? Play on word, banks on base. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about the dynamic, right? Mr. Banks, the dynamics of having, for example, I don't know about you, but JPMorgan announcing that they're going to be launching their own token on the Base network. I think it's called JPMD, the JPMorgan Deposited Talk token that's going to be running on Base. Essentially, they're entering into the stablecoin sector in crypto, right? So JP Morgan, I mean, the only reason why this is worthy of talking about is because it's I think the second largest bank in the United States, um, top 10 or top, I think 15 bank in the world. So it's a large player, entering into the crypto system among the stablecoin, right? Because stablecoin, by the way, for those who do not know, stablecoins produce the highest volume of any token in crypto, more than Bitcoin, more than Ethereum, because a lot of people trade stables. What do you think about that, right? What do you think about something like JP Morgan, a big player in traditional finance, trying to, coming into crypto like that?
well, actually think it's comical, now that they've cited.
Mm.
I can remember just 4 or 5 years ago, they were 100% anti Bitcoin and anti.
Yeah, Jimmy Dimon, their CEO, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
he's
come
not
on,
for it.
right? So I
Hmm.
think it's kind of funny, that they're now finally getting it like so many, but I think it's, overall, I think it's a great thing, right? The we got to take the good with the bad where we bring in, we have this institutional stuff, coming in. They're building on the rails of Ethereum and Base, right? And
Hmm.
I think that's a great thing, but it's kind of touches on what I've said before, right? That you have a lot of these institutions that are building, now they're releasing a stable coin, right?
Hmm.
Well, we can look at, how are they going to use that stable coin? I find it interesting because, we have a USDC, we have their, like the motive of releasing their own stable coin for, I believe is it set to be for like kind of internal settlement,
Yeah,
or
so
something,
so it's gonna
right?
be. primarily for their institutional clients, I guess, to be able
Right.
to use that in case, I guess, if they're trying, like you said, internal settlement, move large amount of money. I mean, I'm talking about they're moving billions of dollars at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's a good thing. I think is, all of us, on the space today, right? We got to balance it in both hands and, kind of just be okay with the fact that, more, this helps, but it
Hmm.
also, hurts us, to some degree, not in necessarily a bad way. I don't think it's just,
Hmm.
you got to understand that, the 2017, the days, that we knew in, a long time ago, feels like a long time ago. Um, None of these people wanted to be in our circle, and
Right.
now they all want to be in our circle, and they're the ones that, hurts us when it comes to, like the crash we had a few weeks ago, right? When you had market makers and you had these big money just getting out, right?
Mm.
Liquidating everyone with the positions, leverage positions. So I think it's a good thing, and I think collectively, we're going to continue to see more and more big announcements like this, and
So
we just need.
I don't know about you, but I'm gonna take a contrarian approach. I think it's a bad thing. I,
You
I
think it's a
think
bad?
I think I think it's a bad thing. I think it's a necessary thing. I think it's unstoppable. Like there's no way like crypto can do it unstoppable, but I think it's negative. Here's the
Yeah,
reason why I think it's negative. The reason I think it's negative is because I don't think the big banks are coming to join crypto. I think they're coming to take over crypto.
yeah, 100%.
All right. Let's just go
Yeah,
ahead. Let's remove the gloves. Let's call it how it is.
yeah,
Like JP Morgan is not trying to really come on base. The truth is JP Morgan is actually actually building their own chain called I think Connexis or whatever it's called. They're
yeah.
really just trying to see, okay, would this work?
Connexus,
And they're
Connexus.
using Connexis, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah,
They're trying to test it on base, but they're really the big amount of transactions. I mean, this bank has trillions of dollars of asset under management, right? They're not coming to make sure, okay, is this okay? Well, I think this bank by itself might have more money than all of crypto. So
oh,
they're not
100%. I believe. Yeah,
right. They're not coming in to do that. Like, did you know that JP Morgan is among 30 other global banks who are trying to create their own version of the SWIFT system? By the way, for those who do not know SWIFT, so whenever you're trying to send money internationally from one bank in another country to another bank, you're using the SWIFT system. So these banks, some of the largest banks in the world, they're trying to create a digital ledger that's a version of the SWIFT system. Guess who's not going to be included? They're not trying to include Bitcoin in there. They're not trying to include Ethereum in there. They're not trying to do that. And guess what? Most people are still using traditional finance than people are using blockchain. And
yeah,
if all these new institutional players' introduction to anything like blockchain is going to be through these people, right? The big banks, how do you think that's going to benefit the small players, the early adopters? I don't think so. Why? Because one of the reason why was one of the fundamental truth, the fundamental thesis of crypto and blockchain at the beginning was what? Decentralization. Now,
right.
if a bank like JP Morgan is going to come on chain, guess what? They're still going to KYC you to death. They're still going to be able to say, okay, you want to do that? We'll block you. We'll
Yeah,
freeze your account. You'll freeze your assets. So how is this better? We're just going back to traditional finance taking over. So I mean,
you
I'll
make
rest
a
my
good.
case.
Yeah, yeah, you make a good point. Yeah,
I
but
rest like
look, we can have a whole bank statement, show just talking about institutions, and
exactly,
because
exactly,
I think it's good to know, guys. I think, overall, right? Hopefully everybody's getting value, right, from
right,
this conversation. But, it's just, this is the stuff we need to understand, and not, we just can't look at deck screener and look at charts all day, right? We got to know what's really going on, so we know
right,
how to move, so we know how to move in crypto, right? So we know
right,
what's being built, because, I've said it before, right? There's hundreds of corporate 500, 100 companies. They're building their own blockchain with technology that we think is the next best thing, in our favorite altcoin. It's already built.
Right.
And I think, we got to pay attention, right? And say, wait a minute. Why are these people that are, having to raise money, you know, how are they going to do it any better than these big boys over here that they already have billions of dollars? They don't need your money. They don't need,
Right.
right? They don't need to have a token release, right? To sell in order to move forward. So
Nope. Nope.
it's important to know, right? To know what's going on, and that's a good point you make.
No, 100%, 100%. Well, before we go into, I have a spicy topic that I want to bring up with you, right? It's something that happened, but before we go there, guys, make sure you go ahead and, you retweet this space right now. We need to get more people. I see, a bunch of new faces that joined us since we started there. So make sure you retweet and share this. We're giving away $50 USDC. We're gonna have two winners who are gonna each win 25 USDC base given to you right away. So make sure you like, share, retweet this to 2 or 3 friends. Before we move on. Also, for those of you guys who are coming here for the first time, we are Raw Banks. We're a part of the Raw Banks. My name is Mbongo, and I'm here with Mr. Banks. We're part of the Raw Banks team. Go check out the Banks token. Again, this is not financial advice. Do what you want to do your research. But we believe that we're going to be making a big change, and we believe a lot of people in our community are going to create financial freedom as well. So I'm liking the likes and the heart. So thank you for all of you guys who are tuning in. If you're hearing us for the first time, go and check us. Go to banksonbase.com. So you can find out more about who we are. Check out our white paper. Where we have so many things that we're doing. And one of our biggest projects that we launched is On-Chain TV. For those of you guys who do not know On-Chain TV. So essentially, we are creating a space where someone can come and have curated content about financial education, about blockchain, about crypto, about just learning money, how money works. So the bank statement is also our effort to be able to teach more about financial education. So we like you being part of the Bank Statement Show, but also go check us out at onchaintv.io, onchaintv.io, and to find out more about what we have there. Creating an account is completely free. So definitely go check us out there. So before we end, I thought it was something interesting. So, Mr. Banks, you and I are both basketball fans, right? We both like basketball, college basketball, professionals, and we we've actually coached basketball, right? You've played basketball also at a high level. I've played also in high school when I was in school, and then I focused on my studies when I went to on the collegiate level. But something interesting happened last week, and I'm always, trying to keep my ears to the ground to see what's going on in terms of latest news. And I don't know if you were able to see, it was in the news all the way here in the U.S. about the NBA gambling scandal. Did you hear a little bit about that?
Yeah, I did 100%.
Crazy that.
Yeah.
So for those who do not know what happened, essentially on October 23rd, so about 5 days ago, the FBI arrested over 30 people across 11 states here in the US, including Chauncey Billups, was the current head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, and Terry Rozier, who was a guard for the Miami Heat. And there was another former NBA player. And, again, over 30 people on what they called a sweeping illegal gambling fraud, including 2 schemes, right? So I'm going to explain the schemes because this is just wild. This is kind of like a Hollywood movie. So essentially, there's Chauncey Billups, which again used to be a great player. I've watched him play. He was one of my favorite, a point guard kind of type player. And Terry Rozier is a player for the Miami Heat. So these are on two different side of what he got arrested for. Terry Rozier got arrested for allegedly he used insider information on his own injury status or playing time during NBA games to help other people place bets on his underperformance. So essentially, he was like, "Hey, I'm going to be injured. I'm going to be out, or I'm going to not play well in this game here. You can go and do like sports betting, bet on his performance that you would do bad and make money." Billups or Chauncey Billups, he was accused of like helping organize like high stake underground poker games. I mean, this is crazy stuff, like tied to like the mafia, like mafia families. And they were using like cheating technology with like cameras to read the cards of other players and, x-ray tables and crazy stuff. And apparently, they were allegedly, or especially on the Chauncey Billups stuff, this spanned multiple years, but apparently they stole over $7 million in losses to the other players. I mean, crazy story, man. Like, what do you think about the story?
Yeah, this is really, disappointing in
Mm.
many ways, right? I believe we've only seen the beginning of this story.
What do you mean?
Um, well, I mean, I think they arrested 30. I think you said 30,
Right, over
um,
30, yes.
over 30. I believe this is going to go into the hundreds,
Mm.
um, because, it's always been a problem in sports. You can go all the way back to Pete Rose. Is there anybody in the audience that knows Pete Rose?
Pete Rose, the
You
old days of baseball.
Yeah. So gambling's always, and there's addiction there, and there's, look, these guys weren't doing it for the money, right?
Were
But
they?
yeah, I mean, they're not. I mean, they're making so, there's a lot more to this story, and it unfortunately, I think we're going to see more negative information about this. And
Hmm.
again, I think because I believe the feds want to make an example out of the NBA and the people, in not just the institution, the NBA, but actually the people, inside the NBA, the players and
The
people. So
players, yeah, the coaches,
yeah,
right. Hmm.
coaches. And that's why I think it was strategic. There were 30, but we've really only heard of two, right? Like some of the
Yeah,
main,
exactly.
they're only
Exactly.
a current player in Terry Rozier and,
And
the
if a
coach and a
coach,
coach, right? Like,
right.
come on now.
Did,
So
did, did, did you name any of the guys that were part of the mafia families or, the organized
no,
crime families? Like
no,
crazy stuff, man. Oh, by the
yeah,
way, okay. So for those of you guys tuning in, listen, this is not a commentary show. We are a financial show, right? So let's talk about the numbers. Let's talk about the numbers, why I think this story is pretty wild. And there's a reason I'm bringing this up, right? So in short, Terry Rozier, he was alleged that apparently, according to the filing that the FBI did, right, that he gave other people insider knowledge about his performance, and they placed bets of over 200,000, approximately $200,000. And in one of the documentation, he said that in one case he was given $13,000 for the information he gave. Okay. Chauncey Billups, again, these are the documents that was made public by the FBI in terms of what they're being. Again, all this is alleged, right? So we're not true. This is an alleged thing. I'm not saying that this is what they did. This is what the documentation say. Chauncey Billups, in his case, there's one document that cites that he received a $50,000 payment in one instance, but we don't really know, right? I mean, if there's 30 people involved and you only stole $7 million, you got to split it 30 ways. I mean, it's a lot of people. But let me give you guys the numbers because this is the part that gets crazy. So Terry Rozier is a current NBA player that had a 4-year contract worth $96 million. This contract for the year 2025 to 2026, the season that just started, he was supposed to make $24.9 million. Let me repeat
great.
that.
Yeah,
He was supposed to make $24.9 million. Chauncey Billups, right? The head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, not a player, he's a coach. He had a 5-year, $29 million contract that he signed in 2021. The contract was supposed to go until the end of next year, right? So 2026. He was supposed to make this year $5.8 million. All right, let me break it down for you guys. So you're trying to tell me that Terry Rozier, who was supposed to make $25 million this season, risk his career over $13,000?
yeah,
Are you telling me that Chauncey Billups, who is guaranteed to make $6 million this year, legitimately, plain money, was able to give it all up for 50K? What are we talking about, man? What are we
yeah,
talking about? How is gambling ever a financial strategy?
yeah. That is, it doesn't make any sense, right? It's look. They got rug pulled, man. They got rug pulled. They got rug
They
pulled.
got rugged.
They
Like
rugged
what?
themselves, right? They rugged themselves.
This is crazy, man. Like I don't know what you guys think in the comment section, but let us know, right, man? Like this to me is just maddening, right? And that's what you said. Like I think they just rugged themselves because it makes no sense. It makes no financial sense, right? So, I mean, it's easier for us to point the finger, but I want to bring this conversation back to us, right? What could be the teaching lesson out of this, right? And this is what I wanted to really ask for those of you guys who are watching is really gambling a strategy or building strategy, right? Because I mean, let's take the morality part out of it, right? Whether gambling is good or not, like let's take that out of it. Let's just look at strictly the numbers, right? And Mr. Banks, I don't know if you've ever gambled or, any sport betting or, Vegas. I don't know, what your background is like, but what is your take on gambling? Do you think that someone should, well, not whether to shoot or not, right? Like we're not here to say that, but do you look at gambling maybe as a option or strategy that someone should look at in terms of wealth building?
No.
Short answer.
Short answer, no, community, no. It is not an asset class.
Right.
Okay. Now there are people that make, I'm going to assume make decent money gambling, right?
Right. Like professional poker players or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely money being made in it, but I mean, look, let's be real, right? I mean, a lot of us gamble with our crypto holdings, right?
Come on now.
We're jumping into a project without knowing what it's about, who it is, and just like some of the stuff we said earlier. So, are
Moonshots.
you gambling with your bag? Are you gambling? That's, you better check your bag today. Get off this call, go check your bag,
Right.
and make sure you're not gambling. But no, I don't. I think that just the definition of gambling alone, right, would tell me enough that I'm not going to do it. Now I do. That's about as much as I do. Is I like picking prize picks. I do some NFL during NFL season.
Right.
I usually will throw $100 for fun into my prize pick account. This is not sponsored. Prize pick. If you want to sponsor us, no. But you know, if I win, great. If I lose, it was $100 and it was fun.
Right.
Right. And I think we got to think of it the same way that we say it in crypto. Don't invest more
Then you're
than
willing to
you're willing to
lose.
lose.
Exactly. Exactly.
Don't gamble with more than you're willing to lose.
Don't
And
invest your rent money into that next meme coin.
100%, 100%.
100%.
Yes.
And I think that's something that we want to make sure that we take the time to really teach about this. Like, I think more people in crypto, especially us early adopters, simply because a lot of us don't come necessarily from an investment background or something like that. We look at crypto as gambling. I think a lot of people look at it like that. They don't look at it as an investment. Not many people, and I don't believe about, our Banks family in the building here. You guys are different. You guys are special. But I think a lot of people look at it as like, okay, oh, I just need a quick buck. I need something now. Some are not even willing to wait like couple months to see their investment mature, get a return. In traditional business, like in some of the regular world, there's certain asset class, you gotta wait a couple years before you start seeing any decent return. Some people are like, oh, I'm gonna invest in the bank's token. It didn't move in an hour. I'm out. What? Like you're really, to me, that's just another form of gambling. That's just another form of like, okay, I'm gonna just go for this like 2%, 3% margin. If you're trading, okay, I get it. But if you're looking at yourself as a long-term investor, I think you need to find good project, good token, like we talked about, the right leadership, the right project. Does it align with what you want to invest in? And then if you've done your due diligence, you invest and you hold. You hold. This is the reason why it can be that, okay, you need that money to pay your rent next month, right? Could you be able to hit something? Well, okay, let's teach for a second, Mr. Banks, right? Let's give some really good nugget. How do you split, right? We didn't even prepare this, but it just comes off the top. How do you split how much of your investment portfolio goes into long-term investment and others into short term, maybe something that you can go in and out, right? Do you have a particular percentage that you do? Okay, hey, only less than 10% go into something short term and 90% go into long term investments. How do you split that so that those who are listening to they can be able to kind of get some actionable, practical things they can do?
Yeah, I think everyone has to have their own, individual strategy, of course. But for me, I really look at everything as a longer term investment, even on a meme, with memes.
Hmm.
But if I were to put a percentage on it, it would be 80% long, 20% shorter term.
Hmm.
I'm not in that position where well, one, I'm not interested in being a trader, right? I really want to be an investor. And it's like you said, I think investing by definition, right? It's time, right? There's things, I'm heavy in real estate, real estate investing, and it's time. So I've made a lot of money in real estate, and that's not a flex, and I'm just saying that because over time, the time has passed. I've seen,
Right.
just holding a property, buying it, holding it, not even renovating it for 2 years, 3 years, because it's already, I don't, it's already, increasing in value, right? It's already appreciating. So when you're looking at crypto, I look at it the same way. If I bought it, you know, I bought it, with the intentions of, one, supporting the project and or supporting what they're trying to do and the people behind the project. Now, the one thing kind of, and I'm, not to get into it, but I think creator coin with Zora and that kind of stuff, right? I think that's going to be kind of interesting to see how that plays out a little bit more. I see a lot of people buying it today, running it up to, tonight, selling it tomorrow. I mean, it's there's a lot of short plays going on with Zora, a lot of sniping right now. So, but for me, Bongo, it's definitely, if I had to put a percentage, honestly, I can't even remember the last thing I really traded. It's been so long that because I like investing, um, for the long term.
Right. And I think here's a good exercise, right? For those of you guys who are listening today, here's what I want you to do. So we're in October 2025. Whether you listen to this in the future or whatever, but I want you guys to look at all your trades, all the projects that you were in and out this year, and look at your initial investment, right? And I want you to know how much money did you actually make? Right? Because sometimes it's hard for us to see because we see like these like dopamine hit from like these high gains, but our mind ignores the losses, right? So now when you look at in terms of your net gains, how much money did you actually make? When you look at the bottom line from all that, you could have maybe made the same amount of money or more in one or two trades if you just held. I know that's true for me. I don't know about you, Mr. Banks, but I'm gonna be honest. Like I remember I saw Bitcoin at 8K and I bought some Bitcoin at 8K. But I was so pansy and trying to in and out. Like it got to 12, I sold. It got to 20, I bought more. It got to 40, I sold. Like think of how and like when I say sold, like I sold all my bag. I didn't even keep a little bit. I was like, oh my God, I made so much money. I doubled my money. But that's because at the time I had a trader mindset. Imagine if I had just whatever amount. I think at the time I had like about $1,200 of Bitcoin when Bitcoin was at $8,000 market cap. Like that, no, that was the $8,000 the price of Bitcoin. Like I bought $1,200 worth of Bitcoin at the time. Imagine how much that amount would have been today if I just held. Right. And if I continue to hold, like, and that speaks on conviction, right? Obviously, it's different for banks and some of the others I've made recently because my mindset has changed. So that's the encouragement we want to give you guys as well. Like, it's easy for us to look at like these NBA players and coaches who are like, oh my God, they're gambling. But some of us, we're taking the same approach as well, right? Have a strategy. Stick down to your strategy. Take the conviction it took, the research you took. There's a reason why you believed in that token or that project enough to invest in it. Do you have the ability to at least stay 1 year Or someone would have said, "Oh, you know what? This person would have made this amount of money if they stayed in that one, but they decided to go because it was red days or it was a bear market or whatever." I still remember seeing Solana at $3, getting into Solana at $3. But then, again, because I had like a trader, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna try to get some margins. All the in and out, I would have probably made more money if I just invested and waited.
Yeah, 100%.
So I remember Mr. Banks and I remember we were looking and playing around with ETH when ETH was like around $100. But seeing where ETH is now, man, how much money we would have had if we just held the ETH, right? Don't get me wrong, we've done fairly well, but we would have done better if we really had the mindset. That's another thing we want you guys to take from this bank statement show. We want to show you guys some of the mistakes we've done as well, so for you to not do the same thing, for you to learn from our mistakes, so you don't duplicate them as well, for you to learn, okay, how do you do that, implement that in a way that is practical, that makes sense, okay? So I wanted to talk about something, but I think we're almost coming to an end of our show. We'll bring it for the next show. I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about the rule of 50. Well, let me say this, right? And we'll close about this. We'll do our rapid lightning round, Mr. Banks, if you're ready. So I want to talk about the rule of 50. By the way, for those of you guys who do not know this, give me a heart if you see us in the building. Oh, I see we have some new faces. Give me hearts and thumbs up. Make sure that I can see here that you guys are hearing us. I see Goku came in, Cloud Deli came in. I see Trench. I see I don't know how you spell that name, but I see a bunch of new faces who came in too. I see an Argentinian flag with a Bitcoin on it. I love it. I see Truth that's in the building. Wanda is in the building. Any Crypto is in the building as well. Oscar Mac is in the building. Julia X, I see thumbs up and hearts. Okay, awesome. You guys are tuned in. All right, so before we end, I want to talk about this rule of 50, right? What's the rule of 50%? So the rule of 50% says that whenever you're starting, let's say you're starting with a particular amount, right? You're going to be starting with your investment. Let's just make it pretty simple. Like you're starting with like, let's say $1,000. If your $1,000 investment in whatever, let's say Bitcoin is down 50%, okay? Mr. Banks, you know this already, but let's just pretend most people who do not know, right? Let's say you're down 50% on that $1,000 investment on Bitcoin. How much percentage do you guys think is going to require to go back to your original position of the $1,000? Right? Let me rephrase that. You start with $1,000 investment. Your investment is down 50%. Right? The price of Bitcoin, there was a black swan event or something, right? It's down 50%. How much percentage gain do you need to go back to the $1,000?
Well, I'm
Mr.
the only
Banks, I know
one.
you're
Yeah, I'm the only one that's unmuted. So, I already know the answer.
you already know the answer. But
I know
most people would say, "Oh, I'm down 50%. I need to go back 50%."
Right, right.
But
Wrong.
that's the wrong answer, because
Wrong.
remember, if you got to get a 50% gain, you're getting a 50% gain on the new base. So if you're down $1,000, you're down 50%, that's $500. If you got to go up 50% for $500, that's only $750. You're still down $250. So the truth is, if you're down 50%, for you to go back to where you were originally, you need to be up 100%.
Yep.
And here's the crazy part. When you're up 100% from a 50% down, you have still made no money. You just broke even. You've still made no money. That's the part that people miss, right?
Yep.
It almost sounds like investing, but it sounds like investing, but it's really just gambling, because the truth is, you got to continue to wait. You got to wait it out past that 100% gain. So when you're down 50%, right? And obviously some people would say, well, you got a DCA, all that kind of stuff. Well, the truth is it depends on the asset, right? Some assets, when you're down 50%, you got to ask yourself, is this thing coming back? Will this thing come back and hit the previous all-time highs that it has and pass it and go further past that? And that's the part that I want you guys to keeping in your mind, right? If you are thinking clearly, right? There's some stuff you gotta, okay, do I hold and continue to wait for this to come back, or do I exit? Because some stuff, it may never come back. You might need to exit and liquidate that position and save the remaining 50%. Some others, it might be a blue stock, no, not a blue stock, a blue chip project or a blue chip asset that, okay, you may be getting it at a discounted price, and then it's going to come back up, right? So you got to also really think strategically, right? Some stuff are on a retracement because of previous all-time highs, or people are taking profit, or whatever the case may be. So if you catch it on that retracement, you know, okay, this still has the potential to go up. So you can find yourself DCAing into that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that every asset is going to do that. It doesn't mean that every token and every even in a stock or even a real estate property, you might be in a market where the market is being, what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, is degrading, right? So it's losing its value. But you could be in a place where there's maybe a new employer that's coming in town, new jobs that come in town. So you're investing into something that could see a different turnaround in a year or two, right? So that's for all our real estate people. So the 50% down rule just means you got to make sure in your mind that whenever you're down 50%, it's going to take 100% for you to get break even, and more than 100% for you to start seeing profit. So keep that in mind, guys. Don't do any revenge investing. Oh, I'm down 50%. You know, I'm going to double my money in. Well, you never know. You're further now. Because now you need 300% to even break even if it start going back in the wrong direction. So it's really, really important for you guys to understand it depends on the asset class that you're investing. It depends on the token, on the project. All that is very, very important. All right. So we're about to close today. Actually, you know what? For the lightning round, here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the 50% down rule. Mr. Banks, I'm going to have you here for the 50% down rule. Here's what we're going to do. All right. I'm gonna ask you an asset, and I'm gonna say if this asset was down 50%, would you add more of that asset? Would you hold where you are, or would you exit? Okay, guys, do you got it? So if you're down 50% on an asset, would you add more? So buy more of that token or whatever that asset may be? Or would you just hold, do nothing, stay where it is? Or would you exit? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. If you're going to add more, give me a thumbs up. If you're going to hold, give me a fist up. And if you're going to exit, give me a thumbs down. Like, yeah, I'm out of here, right? This thing is down 50%. I am gone. Okay. So what about this? If you're down 50% on Bitcoin, Mr. Banks, are you adding, are you holding, or are you exiting?
I would be adding down 50%. Let's stack the bag.
Stack the bags on BTC. Let me know, guys. I want to see. Okay, I see a bunch of thumbs up. People are like, yo, we're adding Bitcoin. We're adding more to it. Okay, I see you, Riz. I see. Some people are a fist up. You know, I'm holding. I'm gonna just watch it. I'm gonna just watch it. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right. So some people are holding. We got a bunch of hold and thumbs up. Okay, so it's a mixture between holding and then adding more. What about if you're down 50% on Solana? You're down 50% on Solana. Are you are you adding? Are you holding? Or are you exiting? Right? I'm watching right now. Are you adding? Are you holding? Are you exiting? What are you doing? Okay, I see a bunch of thumbs up. I see some fist. Okay, somebody is just holding their soul. They're gonna watch it. They're gonna. I see a couple. Some people did some thumbs down. They're like out of here. So a couple holds, couple thumbs up. Okay, cool, cool. It's gonna be a mixed bag. Okay, got you, got you. All right. What about this? If you're 50% on, let's go traditional market for a second. What if you're 50% down on Tesla stocks? Our good old friend Elon, 50% on Tesla. Are you exiting Tesla if you own some Tesla, or are you holding or exiting? What about you, Mr. Banks? What are you doing? Let's say you have some Tesla stocks and you're down 50%. What do you do?
I'm definitely holding.
You're holding. Okay. You're holding. You're doing nothing. You're not adding more, but you're just holding. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just holding.
Okay. It's funny.
Remember,
Like the
I'm not
majority of people are
I'm not a
holding.
big traditional stock investor, so
Gotcha. 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 I think the majority of people are like you, Mr. Banks. Most people are holding. I see a bunch of fists everywhere. A couple of people are saying, I'm out of here. I
I,
see a
I
couple
knew I
thumbs
liked
up.
this
So
audience. I knew I liked this audience.
all right. How about this one? How about this one? How about gold? We talked about gold last space. If you had gold and gold was down 50% of its all-time high price, right? Which is has been at this all-time high recently. Are you holding gold? Are you adding more to your gold bag, or are you exiting gold? What about you, Mr. Banks?
I'm actually just holding gold. I'm
Okay.
not buying. I'm not buying it. I'm not exiting. I'm just going to hold it.
Hold
Store
whatever you
value.
got.
Just hold what I
Got you.
have. Yeah.
Got you. Got you. Physical gold. Same
Yep.
thing with Bitcoin. You would do digital gold, but Bitcoin we would add more of it for
Yep.
sure. Okay. All right, last one. This one is a good one. What if banks is down 50%, right? The bank's token is down 50%. Are you adding more? Thumbs up. Are you holding or are you exiting? Thumbs down. If banks is down 50%, are you buying more and stacking your bags? Or are you holding where you are? Or are you exiting, right? Mr. Banks, what do you do?
I'm buying more. I'm buying more. You look, you want
Buying more
to
banks.
buy more. Everybody here needs to go buy little banks today. Just buy little banks. Turn
Go
$1,
buy some more
turn one
banks.
dollar into $100. Let's go.
Let's go. 100x on the way. Yes, sir. I love it. Thumbs up everywhere. Everybody's like, listen, we got to get more banks. Some fists. Some people are like, I'm holding. I want to watch it. I want to see where it is. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of our Bank Statement Show. We want to do this weekly show where we have discussions on finances, discussion on current events. But our biggest thing is we want to make sure that you guys get a chance to understand how to grow in terms of your journey when it comes to money. We believe it's really important. We believe it's important for you guys to understand what it takes in order to see the success, right? So my bank statement for today is smart investors count the risk before they count the profit. Smart investors
Good.
count the
Good.
risk before they count the profit. So before you invest, right? We talked about the NBA players that, wild, right? Risking millions of dollars for a few thousands of dollars. We looked at leaders, us gambling some stuff. Like we're looking at some project. If you just understood the risk of over trading versus long term investment, if you want to become a smart investor, which is what we believe most of you guys have the ability to do so, understand that smart investors, they count the risk before they count the profit. Awesome. Mr. Banks, before we finish, do you have anything to tell the community, the lovely people, anything coming up that you would like to share?
I do. I do. If you don't mind, let me tell everybody that mark your calendars. Just confirmed that I'm going to be doing a collab with a project called Skitten. So if you haven't heard of Ski Mask Skitten,
Ski mask kitten. Oh,
yes,
love it.
yes. So on Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern, just got done confirming it. We're going to drop a visual on it this Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern. And if you guys have never heard the dev of Skitten Chug, it's a great listen. Very very successful. That was a CTO project. Um,
Mm.
yeah. So, but very, very successful individual when it comes to real estate as well. Have a lot in common as far as his real estate background, and he's actually done a lot more than even myself in real estate. So it's going to be a good show, a good collab with him. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk. The talk's going to be about real business versus meme business. Um,
Hey, I
yeah.
love that.
So
Real
yeah. So
business versus mean business. I like it.
yeah. And there's also going to be a $50 225 just like this show. So there's going to be a nice giveaway, everybody. So definitely mark your calendars on that. I think we'll have a visual out hopefully today,
Right.
maybe tomorrow morning for that. But yeah, that's it, guys. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for staying. For those that stayed the whole time, we greatly appreciate each and every one of you for doing this and being with us, and just hopefully week after week, you guys are gonna see our hearts and our passion for what we're doing with banks, regardless of the market, our own market, and the whole crypto market. And guys, how about a bunch of love and heart for our Bongo man, and how good he is here hosting the space for us and just being part of a great team. So, Bongo,
I
thank you for
appreciate that.
everything you do, and great space. And let's just keep grinding out, guys. Stay safe out there in the space. And until next time,
Exactly.
close us
Until
out.
next time, guys, we'll see you again. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check us out, banksonbase.com. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter. Go and create an account at onchaintv.io. It's completely free to create an account. Go watch the content there. We're going to be ramping up a lot of this content there as well. A lot of these bank statement shows are going to be on there as well. We love you guys. Thank you for being part of the Banks family. We can't wait to see you guys until next week. For those of you guys who want to win the $50 giveaway from this particular space, here's the instruction. Go to our page right now as I'm talking and go and like and interact with our pin post. The pin post on Rob Banks. Go and like, reshare it, retweet it, and tag 2 people, and I think 3 people actually. Tag 3 people, and you get a chance to be one of our winner of our space. We love you guys. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye, buddy.